means nothing now. So, you know what we're going to do? We're going to listen to some epic sax music again because it makes me happy, even though I know you could already hear that. I just want to hear the Murlocs, man.
You want sound any better, Chad? So that is quiet.
All right, now that we had some more Murlocs, and hopefully we can hear me. Um, oh man, D Lyman feels bad that he could finally hear me. So, for those of you who didn't hear before, the rules are over there. We're starting things off because I had a lovely little afternoon with Mr. Jesus C, and I need to get put into a better mood. If you don't know the story yet, you could just look at the results page on the website, and it'll tell you all you need to know. Um, so we're gonna start off with the Wicked Wednesday Power Hour. Uh, Slim's just gonna be our official timekeeper, and we're gonna talk
Oh
about
God.
Wicked Wednesday number 6. Let's start off with a drink first, though.
Okay.
All right, man, get that timer going, Slims, and don't make us miss one.
It's going.
So
It's
we
going.
had another successful showing of somewhere between I want to say 24 or 26 people. Um, I'm sure it's a much easier
23.
23, so close enough.
Yeah. It's all
Um,
right.
everybody got a bye in round one, except for myself and my beloved teammate Furpo. Um, and because I could win everything but a THL match, um, I was able to take him down 3-2. I just want to give myself a pat on the back for that because that's the only competitive Hearthstone match I won. It's the only competitive Hearthstone game I won this week. So go me. Little props to myself for feeling better. Cassie, were you able to do your March Madness thing through it again, or were you booked up on Wednesday?
I was practicing, so
Ah,
I was not playing, unfortunately.
the smart man. No,
We are we're in full season mode at this point.
yeah. You know what? We might have to start doing that on Wednesdays. Although most of us participated in Wicked Wednesday thinking that was gonna be practice. What good it did me. Slims, you seem to have a little problem this week with Wicked Wednesday. How'd your
Yeah.
first matchup go? And
This.
it's had to been a minute, by the way. We're drinking.
Yeah, it has been a minute. Sorry. Knocked out first round just as I did last Wicked Win. Feels bad, man. That's 2
Feels
drinks.
bad, man. Doubling it up.
Feels good, man.
MB Parker likes to see it. Parker, you got through round one, but there's this guy V Lee. He's been showing up lately. May or may not be from China. Debatable. Um, Seemed to give you a little trouble in the same round I got knocked out in. For the folks who don't know him that don't play in the Wicked Wednesdays, aggro-y, control-like, what'd you see from him? Because he's in every Wicked Wednesday. Drink.
Um, he played Freeze Mage, and he played Freeze Mage really well. I'm pretty sure he brought Rogue, and we played the Rogue mirror. He played that pretty well. And then, I actually don't remember his third deck. I think it was Druid. So it was it was control mid-rangey.
Yeah, he's been in the past 3 consistently. I've faced off of him against him in one of them, and I'm pretty sure he brought the Rogue against me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we did see an interesting mix-up in the top as a few new faces. Alex Straza once again finding himself into the podium there, finishing in third. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride, as he's been in the 3 or 4 spot a couple times in the Wicked Wednesday. He's due for the victory here sooner or later. But we also find Monkey Warlord and Brock finding their way up into the finals there. And Brock coming through with a big win. Which, by the way, just another fun little Wicked Wednesday fact. This is the 4th or 5th time in a row Arthur has lost to the winner. So if you face Arthur and beat him in Wicked Wednesday, just know you are on your way to greatness.
Good sign for you.
Yeah, it is a good sign for you. If he's not on your
Oh,
side,
I can attest to that too. I'm pretty sure 1 week I beat Arthur and I won.
Yep, you did.
Nice.
He mentioned that last night as we were trying to run a little mini practice after Wicked Wednesday. What good it did me. So let's go ahead and finish up Wicked Wednesday Power 5 minutes with our last little drink here.
Yep.
get into the things that matter, such as week 2, the week that was in the THL. Um, what do you get? I think we should start this one off with. Actually, no. Let's go with the recaps, and then we'll go back to Power Hour. One of the big matchups this week, at least in my mind, I'm skipping down here a little bit, fellas, was the greatest rivalry that is not officially a rivalry, as two alpha teams, or no, sorry, beta teams or alpha teams, Slimsh.
Alpha.
Yeah, two
Alpha.
alpha teams in the Harry Generals and the Gosu Casuals faced off. They faced off once in the season alpha finals, and they've got this long-standing history, especially with the matchup between you yourself, Slimsh, and Mr. Andy Rogers.
Yeah, we played
seeing,
about 4 times, I think.
seeing as you lived it, why don't you take us through it?
Sure. I can't actually remember the exact order thing. I believe, yeah, Jing Buddha played first, played on stream. I streamed him against Poker, and that was a close series. Wound up, Jing Zhu was a little bit weak there. I believe either I played next or Michael played next. He was able to get the win, that being Michael against Grin Blanston. I think Owen went down against Detrucci. Detrucci's just such a powerful 5 seed. And then I think I was able to get it versus Andy. And then it kind of came down to those scenarios where I believe we were up 11 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
3 seed games had to get played. And Mark Shire, coming back to the league, delivered a 3-0 to Adam. So a little
What
feels
a
bad, man, but close
Rip.
series at least.
little feels bad,
Not
man,
the
means
end
a
of the
little
world.
drink for everybody else.
A little drink for everyone.
Feels
Yeah,
bad
Mark
being
Shire
viable
coming back to the Harry Generals is ridiculous, especially at the 3 seed. When he finished up with Entropy, he was 2 seed threatening 1 seed. So to have him down there in the 3 is pretty powerful. It reminds me of the days of the UTI.
Oh, Jack
down.
sucks. Your mic's a little what facey, by the way.
That's all good. I'll continue to rant because my mic will continue to go through as we get things situated on the caster side. But as I was saying, is Mark Shire was on the verge of taking the 1 spot in Entropy back when he parted ways with us.
Jack sucks. I can't hear you.
And
There you go.
he comes into the Harry Generals as the 3 seed, a very powerful 3 seed with a PR in the 420 range. But we do see Gurn Blanston finding a loss, but I'm still going to keep the chant going to feel the Gurn.
Feel the gurn.
Feel the Gurn indeed. So in the end, the Harry Generals do sneak by with the 14-11 win before the 3-point bonus, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that shakes up the picture pretty interestingly over there on that blue side, with the top 3 teams being extremely close going into this week. And it also kind of
It's because they've been beating up on us
well,
in the green.
the green side's definitely splitting up a little more, but to stay with the blue for a minute,
Yeah.
let's focus on the race that is between the Harry Generals and Golden Wisp for 2. Golden Wisp has a big matchup against Pure Strategy, a proverbial powerhouse in the THL. One of the most, I don't want to say overlooked because they started gaining more attention, but I don't think people realize just how amazing they are, and how solid of a group they've had for a few seasons now. You look at the core of that team, and it's people that have been in the league for a while, with Yuru and Hamboen holding it down for Pure Strategy over the course of time. And Team Golden Wisp, one of the question mark podcasts, comes in and sneaks out a victory similar to what the Harry Generals did to the Gosu Casuals this week, getting a very tight win over them. What do you think this means for Golden Wisp as a team? Is this a statement win, or is this, as we've seen with Hearthstone, anything can happen?
I think it's a little bit of Golden Wisp kind of asserting themselves. And I think it's also a little bit of Pure Strategy kind of coming back to earth. And then, Alec is just the giant killer, man. Like, who does he not beat in that number 1 spot at this point? He takes down Yuri to just, add another trophy to his trophy room. They Team Golden Wisp is good, and Pure Strategy is good. I think coming into the season, I would have placed them somewhat similar in terms of skill. So
Yeah, me too.
I don't know. I wasn't super surprised by that result. I don't think. I was actually surprised to see Hamboen take down another win because it looks like he's unbeatable lately. Like he beats Hunter, so he's gonna go up even farther. Hamboen has like a 1 seed PR at this point.
Yeah. We've touched on that with.
Pretty nuts.
It's pretty nice having Euro above you with that 500 seed, knowing that like a win doesn't push you into a higher seed. You know, like Euro until he loses that 500 PR is going to be your 1 seed. So you're just adding more space between you and every other 2 seed when you win as Hamboen here. Um, we do see one thing I was a little shocked about is the result between Applesauce and I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce the name. Anybody got any suggestions on that? Vitioma?
V man.
VT. That sounds good.
Yeah,
V guy.
the person with V in their name that represents the Team Golden Wisp 4 spot. uh, essentially, kind of like
Oh yeah, I have no idea.
yeah, right. Um, essentially kind of an unknown in the league. Has had some interesting results over the past couple weeks. Was in the 5 spot, I believe, or is in the 5 spot now. I'm not entirely sure how that worked out.
Sasha up, V down.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say is getting 3-0'd by Applesauce. That's the point I was gonna make there. Which pushes Sasha up. Sasha was the big win that kind of. Sorry, I'm misreading my own notes here. Because Hendog's kind of been a known entity in the league for a little while now. I've played against them, um, doing a great job in the 5 seat for a while. And Chef Sasha here, unless I'm reading the notes wrong, 3-1'd him. I'm kind
Yeah,
of.
Hendog was one of those nice pickups for Pure Strategy, who's kind of a package deal, as I understand, with Applesauce. They're pretty solid when it comes down to those lower seeds.
So sorry, I got a little message there that sidetracked me for a moment. It was putting me onto a different thought.
Oh yeah, I saw those messages.
Hey, I just also have to give a shout out to one of my favorite names in the league, who 3-0s over the Wicked Wednesday winner, Bork, aka Brock, Mr. Drubik's Cube. Your name is fantastic, and I enjoy it thoroughly. And congratulations on your win today, sir. So
Today or last week?
yeah, last week. Sorry, man. I'm out of it.
Okay.
I'm still reeling from the absolute ass whooping I took from Jesus today. So you gotta forgive me for not really having my head in the game right now. By the way,
Bad, man.
since
Feels
we
bad, man.
since we took a look at what has and has not been played, a few results have come in for week 3. So take a look at that before we get there, guys. Um,
Oh baby.
Ooh, these
Right.
are results I'm excited about.
right.
Oh, you and me both.
So let's talk about not pure strategy. We were talking about Team Supreme, right?
Oh, Team Supreme dropping 2.
So
No,
we're not at
for
that part yet.
week two.
we're still in week 2.
Week 2.
We're still in week
They're
2.
still really good.
You said week 3.
I said
Feel
take a look
bad.
at them so you're prepared. I want you to be prepared.
It's
But
his first time. Be gentle.
in week 2,
So prepared.
Team Supreme dropped nothing, earning the maximum amount of points any one team can earn in getting the victory in all 5 matchups. Is there anybody in Blue Division taking that 1 spot away from Team Supreme right now?
Down the line.
I mean, they swept the role players, and there was a DQ in the 1 seed. So Supreme's still really good. I don't know. They beat the role players, who have proven now over the first their last 9 weeks of play, they are quite filthy indeed.
Murgle.
Uh,
Team Myrtle seems like a good name.
we might. Oh man, feels bad, man. Everybody have a drink to that one.
Yeah.
So moving on to the green division, which is also another really close race going on, and one that I'm enjoying in the at least the top two seeds. Um, and this is the question I have. Slims, you're in this division, so any point
Yep.
you want to jump in here, please feel free to do so. And folks, if you're looking at the standings page on the THL homepage right now, and you're wondering why Pure Strategy with 42 points is below Synergy, these standings are live updating as we go. It's the same reason that you'll see Team Rank 5 in third place with the most points in the Orange Division. But where the teams are positioned are as they were at the end of week 2. So what we currently see is the top two teams are 19 points ahead of third place. That is almost a full week's victory, with one of those two teams having to be shut out. Now we are playing a 7-week season, so we do have that extra little season, that extra little week. And are we doing It's 7, right? It's not 8.
7. Yep.
7.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
7 because we don't count ourselves. I swear I teach math. Um, there's still, with this week included, 5 weeks to go. Can this gap be closed in green? Are we pretty much looking at two
Well,
decisive playoff teams?
here, consider this for one moment.
Well,
You've
considering.
got 2 weeks of gameplay. There's patterns here, right? You see on the blue division, there's top deck kings who are not faring so well.
Mm-hmm.
Who's doing well in green? The two teams who have beaten them.
Yep.
It's all gotta get figured out still.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Because Supreme and Zenergy will have to play, and we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
And Supreme and Pure Strategy will have to play, and we'll see how that goes.
They got butt
Because
heads.
they have just like Zenergy and Supreme and Pure Strategy to a lesser extent have kind of beaten up on the bottom teams in blue, and then Supreme has beaten up on the bottom teams in green.
Bible pump.
So we gotta let everybody lap each other. Like after week 4, we'll really get to dissect who is better than who. I think.
Mhm.
Right. And the other thing that to take into consideration here is interdivision play is going to have a huge swing on a lot of the numbers we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
Which we won't see until week 5. So, week 4 will give us a good look at what needs to be done, but real work will start week 5. Not that these results don't matter because it's still overall points, but
Yeah, they do.
there's big swings to be had for weeks 5, 6, and 7, ending out the season. So it's kind of get what you can get now, and we'll see how it goes moving forward. But as we do look at those numbers, is there really any surprise with Synergy and Pure Strategy being up top? I know we said that they play Top Deck Kings, who's not faring so well in Blue Division, but would we expect the Green Division to look any differently?
I'm not surprised to see them up there.
No, I think
Yeah,
I'm in
they're
the same
strong
boat.
contenders for sure.
So
Of
throughout
course,
week,
I'm a little feels bad man that I'm below them.
feels bad. Drink to that.
Yeah.
Little surprised to see the Gosu Casuals not up there.
Mm-hmm.
We're
But
I
working
think in a
on it.
couple
We're
weeks we
working on it.
might. I think it'll be
We're
a lot
working on
closer.
it.
I can't help but to feel
Maybe.
that if you're the Gosu Casuals right now, you're kind of the sailors on the boat right now, looking at the storm you just passed through of Supreme and the Harry Generals.
Yep.
Neither one of those teams are teams to be taken lightly in any way, shape, or form. So you do have some calmer seas ahead of you. Not that it's ever safe,
Yep.
but
Yeah, we do
there's
play
some.
Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft.
Heroes of Knife Juggler.
Here's a top deck.
Heroes of Brokeback.
Heroes of Go Face is how I feel the game is right now. Which, for those of you who have not played him yet, Jesus is really good at going face to the tune of
Yeah.
like 30 points of your life and like not 30 points of his life.
That is the plays.
Everyone, get in there.
Yeah, yeah. I'm still trying to ice those wounds down. God, it hurts so bad. So, not trying to get too sidetracked here. We do see promise for the Ghost of Casuals up front, and there is room to make up some points as you guys have yet to play Top Deck Kings yourself. Not that those are easy points once again, but that seems to be the team that the first and second place in green have made a large chunk of their points off of.
Yeah.
I just completely lost my notes here. So slide on down.
Continuum Boom
So
Squad.
Yeah, let's keep
orange.
on moving. Let's keep on moving to one of the biggest jumps of the week with
Yeah.
Continuum sweeping Boom Squad. Um, now,
Feels bad, man.
it does feel bad. There's a drink for that. But I think
To
one
my
of
knowledge, Totem Shaman was not a culprit this week, so we need a new scapegoat.
now,
They were all really close games though, most of them.
Yeah, a lot of them were.
Ah, yeah, they were.
A lot of 2-3s, which those series I've played in a lot of 2-3s. They could just one turn could tip
yeah,
the whole series the other direction.
yeah, I think
One
that's the
turn,
Yeah.
big
one card.
that's the big message though to take away from this is even though Boom Squad did get swept, Danny Wu, Asuna, and D Lyman all took their matches to the final game. And as you're saying, one swing, one top deck can change everything in a game five. But another thing to kind of take a look at there is Necro Havoc subbed in this week for Continuum and definitely came through in a big way just by
Did.
getting the win. Like can you really ask anything more of a sub? You're bringing somebody that hasn't played a match this season in to face off against a great player in D Lyman, and he sneaks out with that 3-2 win. Um, so kudos to Eric. Shout out to him. He's available for subbing purposes at a nominal fee for anybody interested. Apparently, he's good in the 3 seed, so snatch him up if you need him.
Not bad.
Yeah, definitely not bad.
Yeah. So Continuum jumps to #1 in the red division with
They
that.
do, they do.
See if
Yep.
they get to stay there.
And you know what? I think it's interesting to point out that the red division, as we were doing the preseason rankings, is one of the divisions that we thought there would be two clear-cut playoff teams in, and those two teams that were mentioned, one is if the playoffs were to start tomorrow, not in the playoffs, and the other one is not really too secure in second place. So
Yeah.
the red division is really interesting and not really shaping up the way we thought it would preseason. Um,
Not at all.
so we'll have to see how that goes. And speaking of things happening in the red division that were, I'm not gonna lie, unexpected. Um, Entropy being the latest victims of the sleeping on Noob Central disease. Although I can tell you from our meetings, we did not take them lightly at all. But that seems to be the mentality that people look at when they look at Noob Central is that team slept on them. They're a good squad. They had a lot of question marks as they replaced most of their lineup from last season with new folks. And interesting things happen. Winning in a big way, they ended up with 20 points, which anytime you're up in the 20s, you've had a damn good week. Leaving us with
Yeah.
12. We did have a lot of 3-2s. Stiller, Cutthroat, Nade, and God's Gift all won 3-2. With Zather being the only bright spot on our side, doing Zather things and winning for us
Man,
because
I don't know how Zather did it. He got his priest ban, man.
I'm not gonna lie, he was pissed about that.
Rip Priest.
He was. He was so excited. He was so excited to bring it. Although we all told him that it wasn't gonna see play. Um, and,
Interesting.
and the funny thing is we knew Priest got banned before we knew he won. So,
Right.
but Zather doing Zather things, keeping us alive, keeping our week from being a complete failure. It never feels good to get swept, and there's you take the small victories. So knowing that we didn't get 5-0'd, definitely made us feel better about it. But it it definitely didn't help our standings within the red division as things got really close between us and the dream team with that result last week. And with what's already happened this week, it's looking that much more
Oof.
dangerous. Yeah,
Feels bad, man.
does indeed. So Cassie, you guys had a field day over there last week.
We had some fun, Kappa.
Feels good, man.
Yeah, for sure. You guys, if it weren't for Killajive, and Gideon getting his win there, you guys probably are in the 20 plus points total. And
Yeah, we just needed Killa to win one game Couldn't do it. Feels
Five
bad,
of them.
man. And Gideon knocked him out of the league. Feels worse, man.
Yeah,
Wow.
which we will get into it as we go into week 3, but that is a spoiler alert there. Killa Jive is no longer repping that spot on Team Rank 5, and we will tell you who the new 4 seed for Team Rank 5 is as we talk about week 3. Um, and so Cassie, here's the part we're still a little confused about.
Okay.
Because on the site it's listed in red. Did you?
Oh yeah, it's correct on the website.
So it was a DQ.
Yep. We won. I believe it was Jesus and Parker won Thursday night last week. And so I wake up Friday morning. I'm going to school. It's Friday. I feel good. Wake up to a text from Mange saying both our guys got them, and I'm like, all right, cool. I need to come home and beat Vera Day, and we'll call it a week. And I take a nice little nap, post school, pre-match, nice little hour-long snooze. And I wake up, and I've got Facebook message from Vera Day, and he's like, look, man, something came up. I can't play. And we tried to work out a time. We couldn't. And he said, hey, just take the points. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, just take the points, whatever. And so I said, okay, don't tell anybody yet because I'm going to pull an elaborate troll job tonight. And so I got in a Discord and I was like, oh, gotta go play my match, Kappa. And then I went down to the Team Rank 5 channel, played ladder for about
Actual
45
Kappa.
minutes. And I came back up and was like, yeah, guys, I swept him. But I was just on ladder the whole time. So
They didn't notice that you were doing battle in play mode.
Not
It was
not
a
playing a
DQ.
friend. Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. So yeah, not only did you guys win big, but only 6 points coming from Archon Storm, which those of us in the red division we appreciate. Um,
Yeah, a certain winning streak was ended emphatically by everybody's favorite dog. He happened to 3-0 Hertz and end like a 9-match winning streak or something crazy like
Rip.
that. So that felt pretty good to see.
Get
That
him.
feels bad, man. I feel the pain.
yeah, apparently so is anybody that gets that UTI. And then you know what?
Yeah, they'll get you. They'll get you pretty good.
um,
Hope Hurts is okay, man.
so the last little matchup that I think we need to at least give acknowledgement to um, is the superheroes versus the Dream Team because I have to say it right now, man. The Dream Team week after week is impressing me, even in their losses. It's about the closest you could lose. I think 14-13 is the closest true loss you could have in the league. And
Yeah.
14-11 is not far off from that. 17 after the win bonus. So if you look at the totals, they'll say they won 17-11, but that's with the +3 bonus for winning the week. So I want to point out again that Smoked Salmon um, is doing
Yep,
the
another
smoke
win.
another win, and Rad Dreams on stream coming through to beat everybody's favorite plan. And I'm waiting for.
I prefer Plan A, to be
It's
honest.
nice to go up against Plan B. You don't want to be Plan B.
Mhm.
No.
That's when she's like, hey, my boyfriend dumped me. Let's go on a date.
That feels bad, man.
Feels bad,
yeah.
man. Oh, that's another
So,
drink.
and then you get swept.
So shout out to the Dream Team for continuing to fight, to continue to. I say it, and I truly mean it. One of my favorite things is when somebody is called out, such as the Dream Team being preseason ranked the lowest in the league, and instead of sitting back and accepting that as like their destiny, they prove everybody wrong. And I fucking love when that happens. So keep doing what you do, Dream Team, as long as you stay in third place. Or or second if we take first. Just don't pass entropy and keep doing what you do. Um, and
So many
congrats.
conditions there.
Yeah, there is. And congrats for even though it was a loss, it was a good loss. Um, so I do think it's also interesting to point out that Super Sam, Jerry Damage, and Monkey Warlord all did win in 3-1 fashion, which even though it's not a 3-0, that's still pretty decisive. With the format we use, 3-2 is actually not as uncommon as you would think. If you plan on like pinning a certain class, making it win 3 times, we see reverse sweeps a lot in this league. Um, so shout out to the superheroes for silencing some of the haters, answering some of the questions that people have had about them, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out as some of these teams that we had question marks about continue to perform well, and some of these teams that we thought were great are going to continue to fall, which I think is a good segue into THLAP's power
Power
rankings
rankings.
after
Yes.
week 2. Nope, not pace. Damn it. Oh crap. Hold on a second.
Not paid.
Not pace. I'm trying to copy so I could throw it into the chat for those who have not seen it yet. Um, this is what we're talking about. It came out Wednesday morning, courtesy of Furpo and the folks over at the blog and THLAP, as we're going to call them until they decide that they want to out themselves as the mystical writer of this power rankings that keeps showing up. I'm sorry, I'm pouring
The
a beer.
mystery man.
Yeah, I'm pouring a beer here, so that's why. Because one of our rules for tonight is whenever a host disagrees with the power rankings, and I'm going to start it off right now.
Get your beer in your hand. Let's go.
I'm going to start it off right now by simply stating this. While I appreciate the time and effort you put into these power rankings, Mr. THLAP, I do not understand how you have 2 third-place teams in their division in the top 4 in the league. They can't even get top 2 in their division.
I understand one of the third place ones. Team rank 5 started high, so it only makes sense that they would hang out.
And we
up
were
there.
like tied for. I mean, it was like a 3-way tie, I think, going into week 3.
Mhm.
So I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate the love, man. The other one, I'm with you. I'm on the Team Golden Wisp hype train too, but number 3 in the league, come on, man, take a chill pill.
I mean,
yeah, I agree.
let's take a look at here's something I find to be shocking, right? Pure Strategy comes out week 1, and they do pure strategy things in a big way. 21 points, right?
Yep.
They lose to a team that has just been deemed apparently top 4 worthy, right? And you drop
Ooh,
that.
Team Golden Wisp. Well, they were 6 last week, and
And
Pure
you-
Strategy was 4, so they
Right.
effectively swapped places.
They
I can see
did.
the logic there.
Roughly. Trade,
Not
yeah.
that it's good, but I can see it.
I can see it too.
So you know what? I could point out all the differences, which I am doing. But rather than pointing out the differences and where everybody does belong, let's talk about a few of the moves I find to be interesting, and we'll just say whether they're warranted or not warranted. We don't have to look at whether it's exactly where they belong, but do we agree with the fall? Do we agree with the rise? Should it have been more of a fall? Should it have been more of a rise? So let's start off with Golden Wisp because I do think they are an interesting team to watch this season. Do you think they are the number 3? Or actually, no, we're not going to talk about that. Do you think they deserve to jump 3 spots up ahead of Team Rank 5, who was previously ranked above them and won last week?
Nope.
As a completely unbiased party here, I'd have to say no.
Now.
Yeah, no, maybe 4. I don't know, like touching the Harry Generals somewhere.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe
I will
It's
say
always
that
good to touch Harry Generals.
I started with Team Rank 5 too, and the Harry Generals 3. So when both teams are having pretty solid seasons so far, I like extra struggle with the idea of Team Golden Wisp jumping over them.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that might
yeah.
be my own bias playing into that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're saying.
Well,
Although to be fair, whoever did make this this list initially, they slept on the Harry Generals big time. So
Yep,
they're gonna
a lot of y'all
need some time to climb up to where they belong.
seeing as I had the Harry Generals in the top 6, I don't think you could count me as sleeping on the Harry Generals. So.
Oh, I know.
Just gonna take myself out of that party right now.
I know. It was
I'm just
whoever
gonna go-
made this that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'm okay. I'm okay with Team Rank 5 climbing. I definitely think that
we
they,
do that too.
well, I'm sorry. I thought Team Rank 5 and then I started crying because I got my ass handed to me. But feels bad, man. Drink for that. But I think a lot of people looked at the week 1 upset of Team Rank 5 and took it as like status quo. This is gonna be Team Rank 5 this season. And anybody that's been in a few of these seasons now for the THL, a lot happens in the off season that changes things up, and a lot of stuff you're comfortable with. And there's those of us who remain active in the off season, and then there's those of us who completely check out of Hearthstone in the off season. So for some people, it's knocking off a lot of rust, and in week one is uh, it's inaccurate at best for gauging what a team is going to do and what they're capable of. I know we
Parker knows about knocking off rust, don't you, Parker?
Yeah.
Coming back the day before the season starts. Yeah, I guess I'll start playing Hearthstone again.
There's bound to be some rust there.
Yeah.
so
If you keep playing the game the whole off season though, like if you're to the point where the salt's so high that the innkeeper just completely tilts you hearing his voice, like you need a break.
He does
Yeah.
tilt me a little bit.
You did need a break. Tell me about your travels, Exile.
You don't want to hear about my travels.
Punch mattress.
As soon as he talks, you're just like, oh, why did I get on this game? All right, Xing off this.
Parker's like blasting Pandora now every time he logs on. He's like, nope, not gonna hear it. Not today, Innkeeper.
Yeah, well, and, there's also those of us in the same regards. There's those of us that had, I'm going to say, like myself, who had a great deal of Hearthstone success in this off season, and then I come back to the THL and I'm 1-2, um, and 5-6 overall. So like, there's also false expectations established in the off season for some teams. Um, so there's also that tilt factor, but in a different sort of way. But I definitely think that Team Rank 5 is on the climb. I expect to see them to continue to climb up this list. Just starting next week, because even though I got 3-0'd, there's still 4 matches to play, and I know my boys are fired up and ready to go. I'm just hoping that this 3-0 by Jesus did not add too much fuel to the fire that is Team Rank 5, because these guys are.
Here we come.
You don't want to let them get hot, because once they do, they're gonna burn your ass. So I hope I didn't add too much fuel to that fire. There's gonna be a match play tonight at, you said 9:30, Cassidy?
Ask Parker. He's the one playing
Yeah,
it.
9:30.
Yeah. So Parker and Twiz are gonna throw down as soon as Tavern Talk is over. I need my Aussie to come through in a big way. Hopefully he will. Oi, oi, oi.
Oi.
Apparently they don't say that over there, by the way.
Probably don't.
No?
No, no, they really don't, which saddens me because I'd like to think that all Aussies say oi all the time, but they don't. So moving on to a couple, we already talked about pure strategy and their fall and whether or not that's really warranted. So here's one that's near and dear to my heart. I'm gonna let you guys talk on it first.
Sure.
Entropy falls from 3 to 7 after losing to Noob Central.
Yeah, it's a fairly big fall. Especially, I don't know, your series is relatively close, but it's kind of reflective of some of the other falls slash that had that sort of scoring. Um, yeah, yeah.
A
I
lot
mean,
of
still in the
3-2s
top
last
eight,
week.
still in the top half. You can't complain
Yeah.
about that. It's a big fall, but it's only for
So,
now.
I guess they're basing that on that you guys lost to Noob Central, and they had Noob Central really low.
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes some sense.
You lost by 1,000,000 3-2s. Like, I don't know. Who did you guys beat
Yeah.
week one? You guys
We
beat Boom Squad. Okay, so they're also basing it on the fact that your only win is against Boom Squad, and given where Boom Squad now stands after week two,
Yeah.
I think also plays a
Mm.
part.
Interesting.
So maybe I don't think I would have them fall that far, but I can see the reasoning behind the fall.
Yeah, I could see that.
So the problem I struggle with when I look at this list, I know we said we weren't going to do this, but to be the objective person while talking about my team, the question I ask myself is, as we fall, and I look at who rose, right? So we were where Team
Yeah.
Golden Wisp is. So between us and Golden Wisp are 3 teams that went up and 2 teams that fell, right? So the only real argument I can make for entropy, objectively, is that I think we should at least be sixth. We have more points than pure strategy. Our losses were tough losses going into it, but to argue against teams that are hot right now, in Golden Wisp, Team Rank 5, and the Harry Generals, I can't disagree with those 3 teams climbing. So therefore, I can't really put a team that lost above them.
I think you
Although
should have been where pure strategy is.
Although,
in
Entropy
six.
will always be number 1 in my heart. Um, I think we have the capability with without a doubt. I see us as a playoff team. I think we are potentially a semifinals team. And if I could get my stuff together, and if Zather could keep doing what Zather does in the lower seeds, I think we have the potential for a championship over here. Um,
Hmm.
Sadly, I can't disagree with falling this week, but I definitely think I would have put us up above pure strategy here. Continuum, big win, big bump. Think it's deserved. Superheroes climbing their way up as Gosu falls. Slimsh, what do you think? Is that a fair assessment of Gosu going from 9 to 10?
Yeah, we lost, so yeah,
Hmm. Now,
seems
here's
about
one
right.
that is a question mark for me. Noob Central are tied for first place three ways with two great teams in their division.
Yeah.
Um, but they're number 11.
Yeah, they started out so low, they have to climb back up. I mean, they jumped 4 spots this week, and I don't know. It does seem kind of unfair, but if they can prove over time to have anywhere near, like they don't have to score, they just need to be consistent, I suppose, which is maybe a little rough, but
So you
I
see
don't
it
know.
as a
It's
slow
just
climb.
the initial way that it started out, the
Hmm.
power ranking. Like teams who started top or bottom have different ways to go. Seems like.
Now, the only one I will bring up besides the Noob Central one here at the bottom is Top Deck Kings versus those filthy role players for the bottom two slots.
Yeah.
Objectively, Top Deck Kings are the lowest scoring team in the league. Um,
Hmm.
and those filthy role players just got their asses handed to them by Team Supreme, who I think we would all agree is top three in this league. I don't want to get into where they fall one, two, three, because I'm sure an argument can be made in any way, shape, or form for any of those roles, especially number one. Do you think it's justified that they fall behind or below the Top Deck Kings in this week's power rankings?
Mm.
I think it's just their one seed brought aggro Murloc decks.
That was some interesting games to watch. That's for
Felt
sure.
to me like I don't know. It's just your number one seed brought 3 aggro Murloc decks. Uh, yeah, you should probably be in last place.
I don't know. Their competition's been harder than Top Deck Kings, I think.
But like he doesn't beat anybody with that lineup. Like that's my problem.
Nah.
Like Dear Jason or I don't know, you could line up like a 4 seed and he'd win.
Right. Yeah.
Does that show a almost like a lack of, I don't want to say caring, but
Like continuity maybe, like
yeah,
top to bottom, like practicing and stuff.
Well,
Yeah, that's
right.
kind of the thought I had.
just
Like
just to
your
stand
one
up.
seed sends off an email and he's like, "Hey man, I'm gonna play a bunch of Murlocs," and your captain's like, "Yeah, dude, go for it." Like I don't
Well,
know, doesn't
to
feel
kind of
like
jump
that
in
was
here,
practiced and tested.
because I did do a little investigative reporting on this one.
Oh, what facey Mike?
Um, and I'm gonna give a little spiel, guys. You're not gonna be able to hear me. Streams gonna be able to hear me because it's only Discord that it robots out on. I'm gonna go on a little rant while I'm gone. Um,
Okay.
I'll come back and update you guys when we get there. Um, so for those of you who did not know, I do have insider info that the Murloc decks were not a complete surprise. Um, as a matter of fact,
What?
uh,
No, we're
when
good.
when the Murlocs were discussed, there was extensive discussion between captain and player in that case, and player gave a bunch of supposedly logical and reasonable explanations for why they were bringing the Murloc decks. So it wasn't a complete blindside. So
Well, no,
No.
they talked about it, but it clearly wasn't tested.
right. So just to kind of give a little of both sides of that coin there. Make sure that all sides are heard. But I personally probably would have pushed a little harder as a captain to strongly discourage that. I always want my guys to bring whatever they're most comfortable with, because confidence is, in my opinion, like 70% of this game. Just knowing that you know how to play your deck. Because you can play the best deck in the game, but if you don't understand the mechanics of it or how it works, it unless it's Secret Paladin, it's not going to carry you through. If it's Secret Paladin and it's green, just play things. You'll be fine, I promise. Oh man, I
Like,
wish
where
I could
are
have said
you?
I wish I could have said that about Jesus today, but he barely even played it.
Did he
True.
even bring it? I don't think
He
he did.
no, he did, but he didn't hit curve. He still destroyed me.
Oh,
Eh, it happens.
Like if a secret paladin goes Doctor 6, Doctor 7, Doctor 8, you go, well, that's secret paladin. When they just don't do that, they still beat you. It feels bad, man. Um, so moving on to actually final thoughts on the power rankings. Do you guys? I mean, I'm not gonna lie. As much as I complain about how much I disagree with them, and how on the fence I was at the beginning, I'm enjoying seeing these every week.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
I had a kind of a Q&A I threw out there for the crowd, and I asked what your favorite weekly THL content is. Um, and I asked people to put Tavern Talk aside and try to think of like the other things we have going on there. Quite a few people actually answered the power rankings, which I had not thought of them as like a standalone piece of content. You know, I kind of thought of them as part of the blog, but they really have taken on this life of their own, much like Detrucci's "What Would You Do." I know he's got a partner in that. I always forget who it is. I'm very sorry for the second party involved. Um, if somebody forced me in chat, I'll give you a shout out on that. Um, so don't take it as hate. I would like to see them continue to come, um, and I look forward to seeing it each Wednesday. Also, by the way, Furpo's asked if you have any blog content, the anecdotal stories of your experience in the THL, any Hearthstone insight you want to give, please reach out to him. He's always looking for new contributors. He makes the process super simple. Even if you just come to him with an idea, like a simple idea, he'll make it work for you. So please reach out to Furpo if you have blog ideas. Let's keep that content fresh. I enjoy reading it every Wednesday on the throne, so give me more content to read. All right, onward and upwards, guys. Week 3.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Week
Uh,
3.
big things going on.
week 3.
Big things going on in week 3. Let's actually start with, instead of the question marks, let's start with the statements we already know. As a few
Mm-hmm.
matches, even since we've been on here, have been
Yeah.
updated. So in case you haven't realized by the multiple statements I made towards it, Jesus whooped the shit out of me today. 3-0. It took less than 20 minutes. Probably one of the worst beatings I've had in the THL. So that starts Team Rank 5 off with a 4-0 advantage in the face-off between um, two teams that have a legacy within the THL, and right now Team Rank 5 is looking to solidify their place above Entropy in that legacy. When we get done here tonight, we'll also hopefully have results within the hour from Twiz and MV Parker on that. But let's look at a couple of these other ones because I know you guys are excited to talk about it. We have two
Mm-hmm.
powerhouses in Pure Strategy and Team Supreme throwing down right now. Parker, would you like to report the scores that we have in from Pure Strategy and Team Supreme? I'm not picking Parker for any reason whatsoever, other than he's our
I see
guest.
what you did there.
Other than
No,
he's our
no,
Well,
no
guest.
reason.
the arena expert decides to just come in and lay a 3-2 down, just pulling out the victory. And then
That would be Yuri over dear Jason if you're scoring
exactly.
along at home.
And then the Wicked Wednesday winner just comes in and right after winning Wicked Wednesday says, "Well, I got to go play my match," and decides to go ahead and lay down a 3-0.
3-0 Wicked Wednesday, 3-0
He got
THL.
moving.
Oh
Oh,
my god.
That just
For
happened. That
for
just happened.
fairness, for Yuri, I he's on my friends list. I've been seeing this guy. He's been doing battle and play mode.
Yeah, a
Yuri
lot.
Yuri he normally hangs out down at like rank 16 or 19 or something like that, but he's actually been playing ranked, so I'd be really afraid of this guy, even more than you normally would in his like novice engineer rank portrait thing.
You
Really
know,
scary.
I have to say, man, as much as I love your, so like we've talked about dear Jason on this stream as being one of those players that's like he's hard to bet against, right? Are all people beatable? Yeah, it's Hearthstone. RNG exists, like that's just the way it goes. But to actually see it happen, when you, I'm not gonna lie, it feels good to see somebody that's talked about so highly fall occasionally, just because it gives you like that hope that anybody could beat anybody. But here's the thing though, this isn't anybody versus anybody. This was two titans facing off in Yuri and
Dear
Dear
Jason.
Jason.
Yep.
But after Yuri losing to Alec, right? Like it creates these interesting dynamics in the league of who you think about as being capable of beating who. And I say this as I was going to follow up with I like seeing Brock win Wicked Wednesday and 3-0 Moo after getting 0-3 last week.
Mm-hmm.
So it really shows that like anything can happen on any given day. I made a
Anything can
statement.
happen.
I made a statement on this show last week that I didn't think I wasn't expecting to lose to any 5 seed in this league again, and I haven't won since. So if you're gonna put that kind of hype on yourself, you better be able to back it up, and I haven't been able to. So you, my point being is that it creates these interesting dynamics of when you think about these matchups and our analysis here, how much does it really matter? Because anybody is capable on any given day of 3-0 and you could be Brock 3-0 and Moo. So
Right.
show up every week, play your best every week. Who cares on who's on the other side? Interesting little conversation we had. As let's go ahead and highlight this because I think now is a good segue for it. As we're talking about anybody beating anybody, um, I'm going to jump to Team Rank 5 versus Entropy on the list, guys. I know it's way down and not where we thought we were going to go right here. But on the segue of anybody being anybody, Killajive had to step away from Team Rank 5. And Mage, who was taking the season off and just captaining and doing the administrative stuff on Team Rank 5, returns to being a
Mm-hmm.
player. Um, it's a 50-point PR swing for the player that was to the player that is. And as we bring this up to Zather, who still thought, actually, I think Zather was the only one that knew he was playing Mage. I think the rest of us were still trying to prepare him for Killajive. And the question that was asked, here was the question. I love this response too. So the question was asked to Zather, how do you feel about playing against Mage? And he goes, I don't care. I'll play anybody. And the way he said it so casually and like it wasn't a confidence thing, it wasn't an arrogance thing. It was he gets 30 cards, I get 30 cards. We start at 30 life. Somebody has to win. Just put somebody on the other side of the table. I love that, man. I love that attitude, but I also probably even more than that, love the fact that we have Mange back. MV Parker and Cassidy, you guys are over there. How does it feel to have the captain back in the crew?
A
Well,
lion.
the
Some might say.
lion is back. The king of the jungle has returned,
King of the Jungle.
and it feels really good because he was getting really annoying with his like, "Hey, let's play HOTS. Hey, let's play HOTS. Oh, here's your spreadsheet on Wednesday afternoon." But now he's back. He's back in Hearthstone mode. We're scrimming. We're testing lineups. He's not just chilling and talking about how much he hates the game. And he won't tell you this, but he's a really good player. So it
Mm-hmm.
feels good to have him on our team again. Killajive was also a really, really good player, but he just kind of started hating Hearthstone, and he wanted to step away from it. And like, I don't know, we don't want to imprison people to play a game that they hate, and so he's hoping Standard will revitalize him. And like, even since he walked away from Hearthstone, he's back to posting on Facebook and like hanging out in Twitch chats, and he's like becoming the Killajive that he was, because he got super salty there for a couple weeks and he wasn't a lot of fun. So good for him for recognizing that Hearthstone is not life. I hope I can make that realization one day. But we have Mange back, which feels pretty good too.
Nice.
Parker, anything to add to that?
Yeah, where Killajive is, I've been there. Like, you just get so frustrated with the game, you just absolutely don't want to play anymore, and you
Mhm.
decide, I'm not playing anymore. So, I mean, for it to happen in the middle of the season is
Yeah.
kind of unfortunate, but I definitely understand where he's coming from. But to get Mange back feels good, too, because, when you lose, Mange isn't, shy about it. He'll tell you you lost. So, if he loses, now you know,
You,
maybe
you
I
get
won't
to
be shy about it.
you get to pull no punches with Mange.
Yeah.
Just to kind of go on
Double-edged
a little
sword.
tangent here, real quick, to kind of last season, two great players stepped away from Entropy in Markshire and Almace, because they were at that point that Killajive was at of they just they're burnt out on Hearthstone, right? So great guys. They were like, all right, we're gonna peace out. Thankfully, I had the luxury of they finished the season before they peaced out. They took the off season off, and both by the time the season rolled back around was like, you know what? Um, yeah, yeah, I'm ready to come back to Hearthstone, and they're both kicking ass since their return. So hopefully we'll see that from Killajive. Yeah, maybe he'll take some time away. Standard will come out, revitalize him, and he'll come back and kick ass in the way that those guys have done so far. So I guess because we're already down here and there's three members involved in this matchup, um, we got second place in red Entropy facing off against third place. Not third place. I'm sorry. Tied, three-way tie first place in orange. Team rank five. We already know that Team rank five is up 3-0 or 4-0 because of the bonus. Slimsh, you're the only objective party.
Oh,
Uh,
I am the only objective party.
how does this
Hate
one
that
play
news.
out with the 4-0 advantage currently in the favor of Mr. Jesus C and the members of Team Rank 5?
Oh man, Cassidy, you actually did it. I'm looking at the classes that got submitted.
Yeah, it was an accident. We'll talk about that in a second. Not
It was
happy.
an it was an accident,
Really not
Kappa.
happy about that. I threw the match.
There's a lot of Kappa going on here.
You know what?
No,
I don't
really.
know.
The funny
That
thing,
was a
yeah,
That's a
we're gonna
drink.
have to talk about that in a moment.
There's
Go
a
ahead though,
precarious
Slimsh.
class missing that I didn't click on, and I'm really not happy about it. But Jesus has my back, so we're good.
Right. As for overall how this match will do, oh man, it's tough. I mean, what am I trying to say here? Team Rank 5 has just been on the rise this season. They've been going up in points. They're basically the favorite at just about every seed, if you want to look at it that way. Um, I don't know. Parker just brings that rogue every single week. I gotta think that Twiz is so good at teching his decks. I gotta think he'll be able to find a weakness there somehow. And like
Twiz
everyone
brought
knows you
rogue.
bring that rogue.
Mm.
Twiz brought Rogue too.
Well, yeah, rogue's the counter to rogue, right?
Oh,
Clearly, Kappa. Um, Cassie Arthur with that next level pre-spring, I think that's bad news for Arthur. Clearly, you're well prepared. I would favor Cassie there. Normally in the 3 and 4 seed is where Team Rank 5 is the strongest, but man, I don't know about Furpo versus Imbolg. I think that might be tough, and I think Mange coming back might be able to roll some heads, but Zather's been something else. So I think
That
those
matchup is just pure power creep. That's like
yeah,
THL power creep right there.
THL power creep right there.
382
Yeah,
versus 362 in the 4 seed.
Mm.
Mange has realized his dream.
it's pretty. Yeah, it's some power creep right there. Yeah, so I'm not so sure about those, but I'd say overall I'd favor Team 5 in this one.
I have to say, man, even if I weren't involved in this matchup, if I were not part of Team Entropy, I still look at this as somebody who weekly tries to analyze these matchups and try to give some information to the folks watching. I look at that Furpo Inbulk matchup, and I look at that Mange Zather matchup,
Yeah,
and that's just that's good Hearthstone right there, man. Like
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I know that getting things streamed is kind of difficult, especially with like different scheduling and people pressure wise and like various different reasons for wanting to and not wanting to get streamed. But if there's any way that we could convince those four dudes to at least within their own streams or something, put that content out there, because that's gonna be good Hearthstone right there. And especially coming from like, how often do you look at the 3 seed? We have a whole bunch of really great 3 seed players, right? And in 4 seed, it's kind of like a mixed bag of what you're gonna get out of it. But to look at
Mm-hmm.
such solid, great Hearthstone minds, you look at any of those four dudes, and if any of them can, like, if you could pick their brains as a Hearthstone player, even if you're a rank above them, having a Hearthstone conversation with them is going to increase your Hearthstone intelligence.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
all four of those guys have great Hearthstone minds. And it's to happen in the 3 and 4 seed. Like, if you told me this was in the 1 and 2 seed, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. To have this caliber coming out of the 3 and 4 seed, I think it's a testament to just how skilled these guys are, and I can't wait to see how it plays out. Of course, I would like to pick all entropy, and I'm sure if we ask Parker and Cassie, they're gonna pick all team rank 5. Um, but just to shine the light on that, and that's not to say that Arthur and Cassie isn't going to be a great throwdown, or that Twiz and Parker isn't going to be a great throwdown. But you kind of, without belittling any of us lower seeds, you kind of expect that out of your top 2 seeds, right? Is to have great Hearthstones, quality plays, and guys that kind of have the game figured out. So I can't wait to see it. Anything Parker or Cassie you guys want to add about that from the Team Rank 5 side?
I'll say, looking at it, he's gonna hate me for saying this, but it'll just make him happier that it happened. I was not favoring Jesus to win that match.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was looking at this matchup objectively, I was saying, okay, we need to win 3 out of 4 or 3 out of 5, and I wouldn't bet money on Jesus to win.
Yeah.
And not only did Jesus win, but he won like emphatically,
Yep.
which I think, again, objectively, I think that really favors us going forward because we just need to win 2 more matches. Because like that being a
Yeah.
sweep guarantees that if we win the majority, we win. And I think Imbolc, Parker, Mange, like 2 out of those 3 are gonna win. Salt beats me every time we play, so not expecting to win there. But especially because I brought Priest because I thought I wasn't gonna have to. Thought I had to leave today, so I didn't think I was gonna be on Tavern Talk. So I put my classes in really quick, and I clicked the wrong class. And yeah, so I'm bringing Priest now. Feels bad, man.
Misclicks.
So we'll get 2 out of 3 of the other ones, and Salt will beat me. It's fine.
Kappa.
4 misclicks.
Maybe this is ultimate mind games here. And,
Priest is so bad, right?
It's the worst class, and no, that's Rogue, but Parker brought that one. So
Whoa,
we're good.
look at all the hate on the road. Slunch is cornering me, saying I bring it every time. It's easily countered. Jeez.
You do bring it every time.
Well, you
that's
do bring it
true.
every time.
I do bring it. It's not easily countered.
I would agree with that one. That line.
So,
I could come up with a few ways.
yeah, and just to kind of throw it out there, man. The potato has been watered, man. The potato has fucking
we've
been
been
watered.
farming him for so long.
You know,
Just farming away at that potato farm, watching him play decks on ladder. Oh man.
I got all into my feelings after that match. I started doing the like, what could I have done differently? And for those who heard my failures in what I could have done to make myself put myself in a better position for today, I don't know. Even if I had brought the correct lineup, I don't know if there was anything I could do. It all went to my face, and it all went there so quickly, and I was just dead. I mean, it took a best of 5 took 20 minutes. Do the math, right? That's a dominating win. So,
What did you bring that beat you in 20 minutes?
well, here's the thing, man. Is like I said, the match was played at 3. I got the deck list at 150. I had to teach at 152. So I had literally 2 minutes to go. Okay, what am I gonna do with my tech options? I came home from work. I hopped on the computer and I got my ass kicked. So
scheduling, next level play.
Well, there was no choice. It had to be. It had to be. It had to be today. I'm not here tomorrow. I'm out of town tomorrow. He's working all weekend. It had to be today. It wasn't gonna happen tonight because I'm sitting over here pounding beers.
Prior to play your match.
Prior to this, I'm doing pre-production. It had to be 3 o'clock. So I got my ass kicked. But even if I had brought the lineup I wanted to bring, I'm being serious, I don't think I would have. I might have gotten 1 game back off of him. I still think he was won 3-1, even if I brought the lineup I had wanted to bring. So, potato is fully bloomed, guys. Potatoes don't bloom. They're tubers. They grow under the ground. But I'm going to say it bloomed because it makes me feel better. It's a prettier analogy. Let's move on to other things now because my feelings are hurt once again.
Well, look at another one of these week 3 matches.
I do. I want to put the focus on number 2 blue versus number 1 green.
Oh baby.
Because interesting things are happening up there, and I always love when Andy Rogers gets his ass kicked by Katota, because that's what I think is going to happen.
Wow.
Shots fired.
So, I'm sorry, but I think it's gonna happen. So the Harry Generals are thrown down
How
against
much did you drink? How much is that 9% getting?
that 9.8% alcohol homebrew. I'm on my third one, so we'll see how it goes. Um,
All right.
Mr.
Homebrew
Andy
boys.
Roger. So did I say yet? It's the Harry Generals versus Energy. Um, there's definitely a lot of interesting matchups. I don't know if this is just a bias towards three seeds, but this is another very interesting three seed matchup for me. I think the two seeds interesting as well, but I think there's a lot of question marks around poker and pastry.
Yeah,
Um,
the 3 seed's great.
the three seed Markshire coming back had a big week last week, but going up against Vendiclick, who's been playing very solid Hearthstone lately. A self-proclaimed all-star this season. As he said earlier in chat, he thinks it's coming. He thinks he's getting his all-star nomination this season. Which way do we see this going? You got Petrucci doing Petrucci things down the 5 seed, but he's going up against somebody else that's also. They're both sitting 6-2, right? So you have Petrucci at 6-2 individual games this season. You have Diamond sitting at 6-2 individual
Mm-hmm.
games this season. And then you have like this interesting matchup in the 3 seed between two very strong 3 seeds. Like there's so many cool little subplots within this matchup between a number one and number two team. How do we see it playing out, guys?
Oh boy, oh boy.
Oh boy, oh
I
boy.
think the Harry Generals are going to take it. I think they are favored in spots 2 through 4, or 2 through 5 rather.
Okay.
I think Katota's favored over Andy Rogers. I think Poker is a stud player and will continue to prove that over time. Pastry's really good. I think Poker's going to end up being the 1 seed another week from now. Actually, probably by
Mm.
next week. Poker will be the 1 seed if he wins and Andy loses.
Okay.
Markshire is a really, really, really good 2 seed playing as a 3 seed. And Gurn, Blanson, and Petrucci are probably the best 4-5 tandem in that green division. So, or in that blue division rather.
Feel the
So yeah,
gurn.
I like their odds here.
Feel the gurn. Love it. Anybody care to disagree?
I feel the Gurn a little bit, but I don't know. The sacred. We need to learn more about the sacred Jew.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I see the favored 2 through 5, but I think the 4 might be closer
Yeah,
than
that was
that.
probably the closest one for me.
But
Looking at
yeah, I
it.
see what you're saying. I think the Generals will take it overall. If Andy could get a win against Katoda, that would be huge. And after his loss last week, I don't know if he's going to go back to the drawing board because I know in our shared a little bit of strategy with me afterward, and it seemed like he had one of those weeks where he just went. I don't know, like his decks were fine and everything, but I think with what he was trying to do with his strategy, he went just a little too next level with what he
Yeah.
was doing. So maybe this week he jumps back to solid Hearthstone and has better odds versus Katoda. So we'll see. I don't know. That's just what I think, having played the Harry Generals and Andy Rogers last week. I do think they'll come out strong though, overall.
I don't really know a lot about either one of the teams, but I have seen Dertucci.
Petrucci.
There you go. I've seen him do pretty well in the Wicked Wednesdays, and for a 5 seed, that's saying something. So
Yeah.
if he's I'd like to think they're favored in that matchup. And then yeah, I think the 2 through 5 on Harry General's side is probably they're probably a little favored, but I think the 2 seed matchup will be closer than you think. I think Pastry's pretty good.
I would just like to
Yeah.
point something out, Parker, about Petrucci's success in Wicked Wednesday. As I myself have placed in, I think, 3 of them now and won 2 firesides. It does not equate to THL success. Fucking Bible thump. Feels fucking bad, man. Drinking again.
Feels bad, man.
Yeah,
Although I
maybe
think
not, but
Petrucci, to be honest with you, I think he's a better player than myself. I will surpass him though because I will be the best Pokemon trainer in all the world.
I think it does have to say something about like maybe your mechanics are there.
Yeah.
At least maybe you have a solid understanding of the game.
Um.
Yeah.
Not saying that his opponent doesn't. I just don't know anything about his opponent at all.
So moving on to some other interesting stuff to try to keep us on the time frame here. And as we've seen a few results already come in, I think this one's it's pretty easy for us to start making accurate predictions on. Number one
Oh boy,
blue,
oh boy.
Team Supreme against number two green, Pure Strategy. We've already got Dear Jason falling 3-2. We've already got Brock getting the win 3-0. Hambone versus. Here's the thing, right? You got Applesauce and Sergeant Hendog, known entities within the league. You got Prometheus, who has, correct me if I'm wrong, he's been on Salty Saturday, right?
Yeah, I think it was last season.
Yeah, so
Yeah, he's a pretty solid player.
and then the question mark of Brainiac in there, right? So I want to lean towards experience and say that Applesauce and Prometheus will throw down, and that one can go technically either way. Although you would kind of expect Prometheus to come out ahead, um, especially with Applesauce's recent performances. We'll see. Um, and then Hendog gets a surprising loss as well. And we have this Brainiac who's still kind of a question mark, right? But as we saw
Mhm.
with Grim over the course of last season playing on Team Supreme, they kind of can cultivate 5 seeds over there with whatever it is they do. I don't know anything about their practices or their emails or what happens over at Supreme. Um, I'm sure there's somebody that can give us some insight to it. But Brainiac is still kind of a question mark within the league. So you kind of lead things towards Hendog, maybe lead things towards Prometheus, which kind of puts the hopes of Team Supreme on the shoulders of Cheesy versus Hamboen. While Hamboen's been playing great, Cheesy's almost a 500 PR2 seed. What the
Classic
fuck?
Supreme.
What the fuck? Like, I don't know.
Classic Supreme. Two
I,
1 seeds on your team.
So, how do you guys see the rest of this match playing out? Already knowing that Pure Strategies up, was that 8-3 or 8-2 that they're up? How does this one play
Yes.
out? There's still 3 matches to be played. Still 3 matches. Still a lot of Hearthstone left to be played.
I mean, Cheesy's alongside Dear Jason playing in these winter prelims and getting BlizzCon points and all that, like significant numbers of them, and has been doing well in THL. But I don't know, Hambo seems to be on the tear so far this season. So I'm looking forward to seeing those two collide. As for the lower seeds, you would think that Hendog is favored and that Prometheus is favored in those matches, but you never know. It could go either way. I think these will be close. We already saw a 3-2 there. The 3-0, probably very surprising from Bork to Moo. I mean, there's like 100-point PR deficit between those two.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Pure Strategies just as a team on top of their game. They're pushing up points in the green division. They might even take over his energy this week. Who knows? It, it's really hard to say.
Could we just acknowledge, by the way, Vendy Click just pointing this out in chat?
Yeah.
Regardless of whether Cheesy or Hambone wins, there's potential for one THL team to have two 500 PR players this season.
OP.
Yeah. Well, there's potential for two because pastry's right there as well,
That's
Yeah.
just
in line with Katoda.
that's just ridiculous. That's scary. As somebody who's sitting over in the red and orange side and just really soaking this in right now, that's fucking scary, man.
That's why you go
I-
sign MV Parker in the off season.
Used to be a special
Wow.
number. Feels
Overrated.
bad, man.
Wow.
Go for
So let's
Trigger
move on.
word.
Let's move on because we gotta get Parker to his match here in like 15 minutes. So
Yeah, questions?
well, I want to address
Oh,
one more
PSA.
thing. I want to address one more thing before the PSA.
Yeah.
Noob Central versus Continuum. Because I think this is two teams that we had huge question marks about that are standing near the top of their divisions right now.
Mhm.
And this could be as simple as we don't even have to jump into the analysis of this so much as who do you think wins? And do you think we will continue to see these two teams rise to the top of their divisions?
Ooh.
I think
Continuum
Continuum
with-
wins, and if
with the
they
Necro
win, they'll stay
Havoc
on top
still?
of their division. Do we know who their 3 seed is yet?
It's
This week
Necro
or no?
Havoc.
It's once again
Oh, he's
Necro
back.
Havoc. Yep.
Got him.
Well,
Okay.
it's
I think
still
it'll be a close match. Continuum wins.
yeah, it's still listed in red. And this is one of the for those of you not playing along at home, Necro's coming in with about 275 PR. And he's going up against Nade at a 400 PR. But this is also our beloved graphics specialist Eric. So you never count him out because he's just tricky like that. He could come through for you. But having played Noob Central last week, Cutthroat is playing great Hearthstone right now. God's Gift is bumped up to the 4 seed for this week, going up against Crayon. Um, he played well last week. I mean, I played against him. I think if he continues to improve and he continues to play the decks, I won't comment on what decks he played because he's still yet to play his match this week. If he plays the decks he's playing and he plays them well, I think we might continue to see success from him as long as he continues to keep from playing while driving to wherever he was driving that one time he played. Um,
Don't do that.
yeah, don't play your THL games while driving to a family party. And then we have Pepper facing off against Grim. I'm actually really excited to see how this plays out because I'm not gonna lie. Arthur's on my team. Salt is on my team. I know just how new Gemini is to this game. And her success, I will be the first one to admit it, is both shocking to me, but also like something I'm loving to see. It's a new player who is taking the information that her team's given her and like working her ass off to. She's new, guys. I mean, picture yourselves in your first 6 weeks of playing Hearthstone, playing in the THL. I would have got my ass handed to me.
You mean rank 25? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, huge shout out to her. She's taking what the insight her team's given her, working hard on it. I hear her in the background sometimes as we're having our meetings, talking to the folks on her team. So, Grim's playing great right now. She's playing great right now. It's an interesting 5 seed matchup. I do agree with Cassie. I think Continuum does take this one, but every time you vote against Noob Central, you're pretty much voting for them.
Yep,
Yeah,
pretty
they
much.
love to be those underdogs. But the Grim Gamer is rank 4 now. Kappa. Grinning Man.
And boys, PogChamp.
Yeah.
And he's playing in a ton of tournaments too. Open
Yep.
Yeah, he
tournaments.
2-0.
Which is-
He had Muzzy down 2-0.
Yeah, he's
Got reverse
definitely
swept.
playing above his level of competition in his spare
Mm-hmm.
time, which I think is always a good thing in anything you do.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to get better at any game. Play against people that are better than you, and eventually you'll be close to their level, which is obviously better than yours.
Yep.
So unless there's another match, I mean, there's tons of matchups to talk about, but we did a little bit of rambling tonight. It happens. I got all in my feelings. Unless there's another matchup that you guys want to go into depth, I would just like to say that there are a few other interesting matchups between Top Deck Kings, the Gozu Casuals, and the 3 and 4 seeds for blue and green, respectively. Team Golden Wisp is taking on those filthy role players. It's actually a huge opportunity for the Golden Wisps to climb into the top of the top 2 of blue, if they choose to take that opportunity. And there's still, I mean, there's matchups out there. We didn't have time to cover them all, but a lot of it's speculation. We'll give you analysis on what we did see next week. And also, I would like to offer for anybody that is active within the Facebook group, if there was a matchup that you thought to be interesting that you would like us to discuss specific details of, you can feel free to drop it in my Monday Q&A post I make. Those don't just have to be like questions that are random and off the wall. They could be questions about the week that was, not just the week that's going to be. So take a look at it, guys. Definitely check out Salty Saturday, which is still in the works, by the way. Part of the reason we haven't announced it and analyzed the Salty Saturday showdowns is that there's still a lot up in the air about who's playing on Salty Saturday. I believe we still have one spot open. I want to say there's 2 that are almost confirmed matchups happening. Mr. Jedi, as we speak, either from today is like the due date, so sometime between now and whenever, he's gonna be a proud pappy again. So
Oh,
if you guys see him, give him a kudos, whether it has or has not happened. Let's show support to our supreme overlord. Um, And as I said, get those questions to me about anything you want us to talk about next week regarding week 3 in the questions and answers. Which let's move on to after Slimch gives us this awesome PSA.
Oh, I get to do the PSA?
Yeah, because
Do it.
it's in
All
purple,
right.
man. It's in purple. Purple's you.
It is in purple. I added it there. We should have talked about it last week, but I think we dodged it somehow. So I think a lot of people in the league curious on some of our half-baked answers on what our thoughts are about standard, et cetera, et cetera. But the real question is, how does it affect this THL thing, which is pretty cool? And the answer is that in one form or another, we will eventually be moving towards standard format. We just need more information, um, from the Hearthstone team as to what the dates are, how that might line up with THL weeks and things like that. But overall, the main message is yes, we are going to move to standard format. And I think you could tell that by the excitement that many, many people are feeling for standard format.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it should be a really good time. Apparently, there's an announcement on March 9th regarding this. Maybe they'll spoil some cards, maybe they'll give a date, something like that. So, we're all going to be staying
Keep
tuned
in
for that
mind
for sure.
that whenever new cards come out, we make them THL legal the day they come out.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's the preliminary thinking regarding standard, but like Slim said, we have to know the date it's coming out. We need to know where that falls. Like I don't think we want championship week to be decided because standard format came out that Friday. So like barring
Yeah, like
super crazy details like that, I think you'll see like a switch as soon as we can, but it hasn't been official yet. And as soon as it is, you can expect our good man Jedi to update you.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's weird because if it came out on one day, like say there was a day in the week it came out and some matches were played prior in the week, classes were submitted early, people had plans on the week, whatever, they want to play on Wednesday. Say the cards come out Thursday, suddenly there's a week of THL where games have been played pre-standard and post-standard.
Yep.
And it's really
Mhm.
weird. So we got to keep an eye on that sort of thing because that might be really strange.
Yeah.
That's about that.
So look for the standard. Know that it's coming when it's announced. Uh, even if THL hasn't announced anything yet, when standard is announced, the date they say it's coming out, just for safety's sake, start preparing yourself that that date is the date that THL will shift. All right. So if they say March 9th, guess what? This announcement is to tell you that when you go home today, standard is out. Be prepared to play standard. All right.
Yeah,
Uh,
don't tell your potatoes to craft Dr. Boom either. Like steer them away from that.
Or buy Nax. Don't
Yeah.
buy
yeah.
Nax. Or no,
Just
buy the first wing of Nax if you want to play Wild or something.
Um,
Then you can access the rest.
a time check for Mr. MV Parker. Are you good to stay with us for Q&A, or
Yeah,
do
I'm
you need?
good.
Okay. So if you need to bounce before we're done with Q&A, let us know.
All right.
So
Got you.
let's get into the Q&A. We had some good questions that we're going to address this week. Starting with one from Joe Smith. Joe Smith, why don't you just name yourself John Smith? And also, if you have a battle tag that we could give you a shout out on, um, let us know that, because we also like to let people know in-game names, as that's what most of us are known by. Um, who amongst the fourth place teams has the best chance of getting into the playoffs?
rapid fire.
So I'm going to go ahead and look at this objectively. And if you look at the divisions and the gap between fourth place and second place, I think realistically, Archon Storm stands the best chance of getting into the playoffs, as they are only 12 points behind second place. Whereas you look at the other divisions, the gap between second and fourth is much deeper, or much greater. So with Red being as close as it is, and with Archon Storm being the tryhards that they are, I think they'll only be able to stand losing for so long. And then when they do decide to flip that switch, it's only a week that they really need to make the swing in. So my answer would be Archon Storm. Cassie?
Well,
Boom
no, yeah,
squad.
Wow. Simple,
yeah.
straight to the point. Go ahead, Slimsh.
I'm gonna go with Cassie here. I see your logic and reason there with Archon Storm, but I'm also gonna throw one in for Boom Squad.
Mm-hmm.
I also would pick Boom Squad. I think
Oh baby, a
I
triple.
think Boom Squad's got a lot of good players that will eventually start to win all of their matches, and then they'll just rapid fire win, 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 win,
All right. So
Win, win,
there's your
win.
answer, Joe
win,
Smith.
win.
If I knew who you were, I could know the team you're on and potentially give you more insight to why your team 4 spot is not going to make it. Especially if you're those filthy role players, because that is a damn freaking big gap between second and fourth in that division. All right, moving on down that list, yo. Um, so we've touched on this one a little bit before. Um, Besides deck trackers, are there other tools, resources, articles, streams, etc. you use to enhance your tournament style play? This one coming from Nade himself. Shout out to Nade for offering us the question. We've talked a little bit about Slimsh. I know you use the Murloc calculator, um, but
Oh yeah, all thanks to D lineman.
let's talk about. I like the second piece of this question: articles, streamers, etc. Um, that we use to help ourselves. Um, I will start off by saying I've been watching a lot of Strife Crow. Per actually, Cassidy one day we had a very similar question, and Cassidy said that he liked Strife Crow and the way he explains why he does what he does.
He's
And
really good.
I actually started playing Zoo, which last season was the thing that got me to my highest rank ever on ladder by watching Strife Crow play and using his list. So I enjoy people that a Stripe Crow is one I watch, and also Crip is another one I've watched from time to time, who have a way of explaining things that I can understand what they're saying. They're not talking above me, and they really let you into their thought process. So that's what I do. I offer it up. Slimsh, I know you watch 1,000,001 streamers. What's your answer?
Yes, I watch many streamers. My more recent favorite thing to do in terms of this, especially since Nate specifically mentioned enhancing tournament style play, is I've really liked to find the resources where like these players, these streamers, these high level players talk specifically about not just like the games that they're in, the plays that they're making, but um, like preparation for competitive events and things like that, and maybe looking at their games after the fact, like with the casters in the background, see what they say, see what they were thinking in the moment, compare and contrast that. I know Life Coach does that a lot, where they talk about their lineups and stuff. Gara posted a video like that recently. I guess it was to Tempo Storm's page. I'm not sure. Where he was talking about his lineup that he picked for. I guess it was the European prelims. But yeah, just things like that. There you get a lot more out of those. They're so specific and narrowed in onto what's really at play, instead of just like the general stream, which often can be just entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Gotta get those views.
What about you, Parker? Anything you like to use?
No, I actually in a lot of the WCS tournaments, I know most of them, at least the rules are if you get caught using a deck tracker, you will be banned. So
Mm-hmm.
I also don't like playing ladder or practicing matches with anything different that I would play in a tournament, so that it's just consistent all the time. So I don't like using a deck tracker that shows your cards in game, like shows you like while you're in the game, I have this many of this left, like what cards you haven't drawn. But I don't think it's too bad to have a deck tracker that just tracks like win rates. Like what's
I
your
was
win
gonna
rate versus
follow
this
up and
class.
ask you that if you how you felt about for practicing purposes something that keeps track of your win loss against specific classes. So
No, I don't mind that, but I think if you're using deck trackers that tell you how many cards you have left in your deck, that you're only really hurting yourself. I don't think you're actually helping yourself any. You might help yourself in that moment, but in the long run, you should be able to keep track in any given game how many cards you have left in your deck yourself,
hmm
Yep.
so that you know how many outs you have. Because if you were playing in a bigger tournament, like maybe you're not going to, but if you were by chance, anyone that you would know, like it wouldn't be any different than a ladder game.
right. And just to kind of jump on this, because you said something that has been a philosophy of mine. For those of you who read the blog post I posted way back when, um, My introduction to competitive gaming was actually in Halo 2 and various different Call of Duty titles. And as we used to practice, sadly we were sponsored by Mad Cat. I say sadly because I hated their controllers. But whenever we had to go to a tournament, we had to use them per our sponsorship agreement. And I always had the philosophy when playing competitive games that if I'm not allowed to use it or if I'm required to use it within competitive play, that's how I like to practice. So, like as you were saying, if it's illegal in tournament play, why practice with it? It then becomes a crutch that when you don't have, you're a lesser player because you've leaned on that crutch for so long. So, Cassie, what about yourself, man? Anything you like to use, read,
Um,
watch?
I spend way too much time and effort on this game. I live on the Reddit and the competitive Hearthstone Reddit. I try to find like articles that I like. There's a bunch of good articles out there, not just about specific decks, but about like card games in general. Like when I first started playing Magic in college, I got really into like, oh, what is tempo? What is value? What is a winning mentality, etc. And like every time somebody joins a team I'm on, I refer them to a specific article called "Defeating the Scrub Mentality" because I think it's all over card games. But I also fall asleep watching Twitch every single night, which is kind of nerdy to say, but like Strife Crow is on that time. Firebat, since he left Archon, is now on around my bedtime. Feels really good, man. Zele is on at night. And then even Raynad, when he's not playing a stupid wacky deck, like when he was testing out Aggro Shaman and then had it fixed and was playing it, like I learned a lot from him on that. And just like watching people play a deck really well, listening to their commentary, and then applying that to your own thought process as well as like I always love to like see their hand and give myself like 3 seconds and say, okay, this would be my play. And then see if I get it right or not. And that's just kind of the way I go about it. And yeah, that's how I try to add decks to my arsenal, kind of as my career goes on, so I can play more than just aggro stuff going
Mm.
forward.
So, thank you, Nate, for the question. Those are our answers. We have two more questions. We'll try to breeze through them quickly to wrap this show up. This one coming courtesy of Mange slash one of our guests tonight. Um, what they want to know is how much do you value your opponent not knowing information about your deck slash text? Um, there's been rumors out there of certain teams having a policy where their players don't play on stream for fear of giving information out. We also know that there's other players who love to be streamed despite the risk. What are our thoughts on the penalties, advantages of streaming, having your information out there, so on and so forth? Um, and I'll start this one off because I mentioned it in I don't know if it was a post or on the show, but one of the days that I really started to take Hearthstone serious and improve on it was after, I want to say it was maybe season beta. I played on stream and got absolutely ripped apart by Verde and Hearthstone. Um, and really getting the analysis of the people that were better than me at this game helped me. And I was playing stupid decks such as Beast Druid at that time. So depending on where you are in your career, for me it was actually a tool that benefited me to be able to go back and watch that VOD and get insight from players that were better than me. But I would
Mhm.
like to hear from you guys who sit much higher in the seats than myself what your opinions are on being streamed. I'll open up to whoever wants to jump on it first.
I'll tell you my opinion. My opinion is I don't value that at all. I've also said that if someone wanted my deck list, even before we played, as long as they weren't allowed to change theirs, I would send them. Although my teammates don't seem happy about that. I would have all my matches streamed. I really don't care. I don't think it's that big of an advantage as to them knowing what cards are in your deck, especially if you don't fully like. Maybe there's one or two cards that would be important, but as I'd say, 28 to 29 of my cards are going to be dead standard. Like they're in every like druid deck or whatever deck. Like there's not going to be any surprises in there. So I don't value it at all. I think it's highly overrated, and I think people get way too into it.
Cassie or Slim, anything from you guys on that one?
I tend to agree. I think in the old format, maybe it was a little more valuable, but then you could just have Handlock and Zoo, for example, both built and decide which one to play. But I think it was good to know which one your opponent favored or which one they were better on because you could plan around like beating the lesser one. But in this format, you pretty much know every deck your opponent's playing as soon as they issue their ban, right? And so like we
Hmm.
can look back at what they've played in the past, we look back at what they've banned in the past, and it's really easy to figure out if you're playing Zoo or Reno Lock based on what deck you decided to eliminate from your opponent because everybody's playing the same Druid.
Mhm.
Most people are playing the same Paladin. There's a few Anyfin stragglers out there. Most people are playing um, Aggro Shaman, etc. And so when you take a ban and apply it to that, it's really easy to see, oh, okay, he likes Reno Lock because he banned Druid and he brought Freeze Mage. Like, okay, so you're playing Reno Lock with that. You're not going to bring Zoo and ban Druid, right? And that's kind of the thinking going forward. I don't think it's that valuable anymore.
So,
Yeah.
Slimsh,
Oh,
I was gonna say, so Slimsh.
yeah. I've mentioned this before on some Tavern Talk a little while ago when I had first decided to start streaming myself. Although I don't typically stream decks that I play a lot in THL, though that's probably changed a lot because when it comes to laddering these days, I limit myself to a select few decks to throw out there on the ladder. So I don't think it's that valuable because if my opponent is going to try and take some information about me that's well known and try to counter it, like as Cassidy said, it's going to be pretty obvious to me not only in the classes that they bring but also what they ban. So I'm going to have a few steps ahead of the game to prepare for what's going on. If they're trying to next level me really hardcore, like I'm going to be looking at myself too, like in what I've submitted to make sure that I'm not, like 100% predictable at the very least. So I don't think it's that valuable. I think players who are flexible with a wide variety of decks and archetypes between various classes are less susceptible to it. But I don't know, if you're a player who's really locked in on uh, specific archetypes within classes, I could see that being a weakness. But um, overall, if that's the case, I would try to eliminate that over time within both the league and Hearthstone in general. So yeah, that's about that.
All right, which brings us to our last question of the evening, courtesy of Mr. Dear Jason. Um, and this one is interesting, but I also think it's kind of a actually it's not clear cut. There's a few options for it, and all of them have very easily justifiable reasons. But Jason asks, what playoff capable team will most likely not make it due to their division? Which I think is an awesome question, as a lot of these divisions have not shaped up quite the way we expected them to, or perhaps have a greater gap than we thought they would. So, one of the things that I like to look at here is where did we think people were preseason? What is their potential by the end of the season? And why is it that we don't think they get there? So, as I've started every question off, I will start off with because I need to finish this beer, I will start off with a feels bad man. And then I'm going to go ahead and say, I think, unfortunately, this season, I think it's the Gosu Casuals. Um, Unlucky draw in the division for them as Synergy and Pure Strategy, two very strong teams that have been in the league for a while, have been battle tested for a while. Um, Actually, if you look at the Green division, they're truly the only division that has four THL tested teams in them in that division. Whether you want to say the filthy role players are what's the word I'm looking for, relevant to that discussion or not, they still know what they knew coming into the season what to expect out of the THL. And I think what it boils down to is just they're at a disadvantage currently. I think that Pure Strategy and Synergy are just too good of teams to put yourself this far behind this early. And Slimsh, I hope you know it's nothing against you guys. You know I love you. I love your team.
Oh no, that's okay. I
I
just
just,
don't think it's the best answer to the way the question was.
uh best playoff capable team. I think
Because of their division.
I
Although
think
I
the
could see like being locked out by pure strategy and Zen they're
I
definitely
think the only reason you guys don't make
so yeah, it's relevant.
I think the only reason I think if I put you in perhaps like red division, which is not shaping up the way I thought it would this season, or
No.
even orange, and not because there's not good teams in orange, but I think orange the talent level is so uh at least the way it's currently playing out. Then again, they're beating on the red division right now. Um, I think if we put Gosu in red or orange, I think they make it. Or at least,
Hmm.
it comes down to like a very, very, very tight race at the end of the season. So I think Gosu is a playoff caliber team. I think they're a team that deserves to be in the playoffs. But I think that if they do miss the playoffs this season, which is what I guess I'm saying by this answer, I think the only reason they do miss the playoffs this season is because they're in green division and they have to go up against blue division the whole time. Because that's the other piece of this question, right? It's not just that you're in green, is that you're in green and you also
Oh,
have to face
good
blue.
point.
So
Good point.
there's my answer.
Yeah, I see what you're saying now.
I offer it up to whoever wants to jump on it next.
Um, the way I probably read it wrong, but the way I prepared my answer was for teams currently in the playoffs that I think is most likely to fall out of the playoffs.
No, that's
So
perfectly
if the
fine
playoffs
too.
ended today,
Mm-hmm.
That's perfectly
I
fine
look
too.
at Orange and I see there's a three-way tie for 2 spots with Team Rank
Mhm.
5, Noob Central, and the Superheroes. And I think I would lean towards Noob Central falling out there. And I know it's like okay, well now they're gonna win the title again because I said this.
Yeah, right.
Yep,
But
always underdogs.
looking at the Orange division, the 4 seed and to a lesser extent the 5 seed is really really strong, and Noob Central really 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 is low in the 4 seed going forward. And I think in the Orange division, you're going to get super punished for that with like
Mhm.
Asuna and now Mange and Monkey Warlord just kind of waiting there.
Right.
And they also lack. Well, I guess Stiller's PR shot up to 496 because he's new. But I'm not ready to call him a total top end player yet, like a Super
Mhm.
Sam or like an MV Parker.
Well,
And
it's
so I just think, given their divisional matchups, Noob Central is probably the most likely to fall out of that playoff slot.
and just to jump on your bandwagon here, because I never thought about that four spot. If you look at the fact that Orange has to play red, within Orange, four spot strong, but he also has to face or she, depending on how Gemini and God's Gift bounce back and forth as they're currently tied. There's also Gideon Echo to look at, Lemur to look at, Crayon to look
Yep.
at. Like, they got through our side. Zather did get the win, but the four spot between orange and red, it's very strong. And I didn't actually look at that in depth, Cassie, until you just pointed that out. So, valid. I like it. Parker, do you got one?
Yeah, I'd like to go the other way with it. I think if I was to pick, I would say out of the Orange Division, I would agree. I would also say the Orange Division, and I would say the Superheroes might be the team to fall out.
Any reason
Can
for
see
that, or
that.
just a feeling?
Yeah, I feel like they're kind of lacking. I don't wins out of the 2 seed. Their 2 seed seems to be really struggling, and a lot of the other 2 seeds in this division seem pretty strong
Hmm.
Yeah.
with Cassidy, Cutthroat, and Brunson.
And once again, you got to flip
So
that around and also look at red with Smoke
yeah,
Salmon
and the
playing.
red seeds 2 seeds are arguably even better, like or just as good even.
I mean,
So
I think you look
I
at that, and the one question mark you have in Red Seed becomes Smoke Salmon, and he's been playing out of his freaking mind
right,
lately.
and he's been beating everyone. So
So,
I think they could struggle a little bit.
interesting.
A- With I am playing B, he seems to be struggling a little bit, and I'm not sure about Jerry Damage, but the other 3 seeds are really strong in the Orange Division too.
Um,
Right.
Slimsh, what do you think, man?
So I've seen a lot of people pointing this one out. You look at blue with Supreme
Mm-hmm.
supposedly really secure up there in two and or one rather. So the fight for second place to
Yeah.
get into the playoffs with that is going to be really tough. And I think with the recent pickup of Markshire, I'm thinking that it's going to be really, really tough. I think Golden Wisp has been proving themselves and they're playoff capable. But I think in the long run, the Harry Generals now with Markshire having been
Mm-hmm.
picked up is alongside Supreme with this early lead. And I don't like they're doing pretty bad against pure strategy this week at the very least, but I don't know. In the future, I don't see Supreme letting up
Right.
too many weeks like this. You know, so I think in the long run, it's going to be tough
Well,
for
either the Harry Generals
Golden
or
Wisp.
team. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Golden Wisp is more than capable to get there, but Supreme is going to stay up there, and I think the Harry Jones are just going to slowly
Fall out.
build into that
Or, I mean,
that two spot.
rise up. Yep. And I
Yep.
know that's something that Slimps, you and I were talking about that earlier tonight and looking at that. That's part of the reason I kind of stayed away from that because I had a feeling you would lean that way. But that's also a matchup I found interesting, just because there's 1 point separating 2 and 3. So
Yeah.
let's get to closing thoughts because we gotta get Parker out of here. I need to know what my boy Twiz is gonna do tonight. And actually, for Twiz, it's early in the morning. I'm sure he's got work or better things to be doing than playing Hearthstone. So let's start off with Mr. MV Parker. Do you have any party thoughts, things you would like to say for the folks before we leave tonight?
I'd just like to say thanks for having me on, and go Team Rank 5.
Well, we appreciate you being here, man. Um, and please let us know if you're available again. It was great having you here tonight. Good to hear your insight, and thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Mr. Cassidy, any parting thoughts for the folks at home tonight?
Let's go, Team Rank 5.
Hog chant.
Parker's gonna get it done. Way to go, Jesus. Killajive's gone now, so you're undisputed favorite teammate again.
Wow. So,
Wow.
so Jesus, I would just like to say you've been loyal the whole damn time. He jumped ship. That ship sank. Now he wants to come back to you. You know, Mage has always said that you're the greatest, showing up, doing the Chinese food thing. He sings your praises all the time. Just could put the plug in there for Mage. Um, Mr. Slimsh, parting thoughts for you this evening?
All right. Xenergy, pure strategy, pretty good, but don't sleep on the casuals too much. We're
Oh,
gonna
man.
try and make big things happen this week.
I want to get
Make
a hat.
all the people notice.
I want to get a hat that I can wear on here next week. That's I don't know if the Goes Who Casuals have a logo other than your championship banner from season beta, but if I could find one,
Well,
I'm gonna make a Goes Who Casual hat. I'm gonna become your biggest
the
fan this season.
the championship banner was based off of what was an already existing logo
Yeah, it's
that
Cowboy
used to get
Bebop.
thrown into email signatures, which I should start doing that again.
Yeah, buddy, Cowboy
Yeah.
Bebop. That's Spike. I know all about it. You ain't fooling me. All right, so guys, I know it's been once again a long show. Sorry for our droning on, but you guys gotta understand we put a lot of time and effort into. We didn't even get through. If you guys could see the script, we literally broke down every match. We could make this a 3-hour show if we really went into all the work we do. Um,
There's not enough beer in this house.
no, there's not enough beer in this house. There's not enough time in the day. But please, something I would like to make known out there is if you want our insight on things, just because it's not Thursday night doesn't mean you can't throw a question up in Facebook. And we'll get through it throughout the week if we didn't cover it tonight, but it's something you want to know our insight on. Please make sure that you continue to reach out to us. The show would not exist without you guys. You're all awesome for spending your Thursday night with us. Best of luck on your matches this week. We'll be here next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you for Parker for being our guest. We're looking for a guest for next week, so as long as your name is not Lemur, I'm just kidding, Lemur. You're owed a
You're
spot.
believing.
No, Lemur's my boy. I've been ripping on him for the past week, but that's because I love him. He's due for a spot on here. We'll see when we can get you on. But please, if you're interested in being a guest on Tavern Talk, we would love to have you. Let's get your name out there, especially if you're somebody that's not really known to the THL. It's about damn time we got Parker on here. So let us know if you're interested. Lemur, I promise you a spot before the season's done. Thanks for being my boy and always hanging out with me in Discord. As much as I hate on you, I do love you, I swear. I just want to give
Harsh
that.
words from Lemur in chat.
You know what? That's fine. I give him enough shit that he's allowed to throw it back, and you know what? He's a solid guy. Always there when I need a Civ 5 buddy or somebody to chat with. Good dude. So we'll be here same bat time, same bat channel next week. Thank you so much for being here. On behalf of Cassie, MV Parker, and Slimsh, we are out, and I'm sure Slimsh is gonna throw his awkward bye in here.
Bye. Drink.